Sigmas. Ever wonder why you can't stand small talk, clingy people, or power-hungry bosses? You're not crazy, you're just wired differently. And in today's overstimulated world, that's a hidden advantage. Modern psychology identifies the Sigma male as someone who operates outside traditional social hierarchies. He doesn't conform to the alpha-beta dynamic. Instead, he charts his own path. He values freedom over control, purpose over popularity, and depth over distraction. Studies in personality theory link Sigma behavior to introverted intuition and a high need for autonomy, traits often associated with INTJ or ISTP types on the Myers-Briggs scale. Now imagine this. A man walks into a party filled with surface-level chatter, performative laughter, and ego-driven games. He doesn't stick around to compete or impress. He sees through the facade and leaves quietly, not out of arrogance, but alignment. He knows his energy is sacred, and he chooses not to waste it on meaningless noise. The Sigma male doesn't hate people, he just prefers authentic connection over forced interaction. He doesn't fear authority, he rejects manipulation. What society calls antisocial, he calls clarity. In this video, we'll unpack the 8 things Sigma males absolutely hate, and more importantly, why. Get ready to see the world through a different lens. Number 1, fake people and surface-level conversations. Sigmas have an uncanny radar for detecting fakeness. It's not just a hunch, it's their finely tuned observation skills and deep emotional intelligence at play. Like a lone wolf sniffing out danger, a Sigma can sense when someone is being disingenuous. Whether it's forced small talk about the weather or exaggerated laughs over some shallow celebrity drama, it immediately sets off internal alarms. It's not that they're antisocial, it's that they value authenticity over social rituals. Sigmas are wired for depth. Conversations without substance bore them. They're the kind of people who'd rather discuss the vastness of the universe, the mysteries of human consciousness, or the struggles of personal growth than talk about the latest fashion trends. They're drawn to topics with meaning, philosophy, psychology, dreams, purpose, even pain. If the connection isn't real, they quietly pull back. You'll often find Sigmas zoning out during surface-level conversations, not out of rudeness, but because their mind is simply elsewhere, exploring deeper truths. There's a psychological reason behind this. Research shows that individuals with high introversion and intuition, often associated with Sigma traits, experience social fatigue faster when the interaction lacks emotional or intellectual engagement. Pretending to be interested drains their energy. That's why they value solitude, not because they're antisocial, but because solitude allows them to recharge and stay true to themselves. Sigmas don't wear masks. They have no time for playing roles to please others. For them, authenticity is a lifestyle, not a choice. They understand that pretending might help you fit in, but at the cost of your soul. And that's a price they're never willing to pay. In a world obsessed with filters and facades, Sigmas stand out by staying real. Silence with truth is always better than noise with lies. Number 2, authority without integrity. You know that boss who loves flashing their title like it's a trophy but can't lead a team through a 5-minute meeting without chaos? Or the teacher who insists on respect but never actually earns it through skill or presence? Yeah. Sigma males see right through that. And they can't stand it. Sigmas don't worship titles, they respect. They admire real, not empty authority. If someone knows what they're doing, treats others with integrity, and leads by example, a Sigma will follow, gladly. But the second that leadership turns into a power trip, they're out. Why? Because Sigmas value. According to psychological studies, people who possess a strong internal locus of control, the belief that they control their own fate, are less likely to submit to arbitrary authority. That's the Sigma mindset. They don't blindly obey, they analyze, they question, and if something doesn't align with their values or logic, they'll walk away, no matter who's barking orders. It's not about being rebellious for the sake of rebellion, it's about protecting their independence. Sigmas understand that submission to unearned authority is the first step toward losing yourself, and they fought too hard to build their identity to just give it up for someone's inflated ego. Real power, to a Sigma, isn't about commanding others, it's about mastering yourself. They see through the facade and they refuse to be pawns in someone else's game. So next time someone tries to flex their title without backing it up with real leadership, just know Sigmas are already halfway out the door. Number 3, clingy, needy energy. You ever had someone text you 14 times because you didn't respond right away? Or guilt trip you just because you needed some alone time? That's a Sigma male's worst nightmare. Sigmas value independence, both their own and that of others. They're not trying to escape relationships, but they absolutely avoid emotional suffocation. For them, emotional clinginess isn't just annoying, it feels like being put in chains. They don't need constant validation or hourly updates. What they need is space, to breathe, to think, to recharge. Alone time isn't a red flag for them, it's fuel. Psychologists have actually studied this kind of personality. The Sigma male often aligns with the introverted intuitive type, someone who thrives in solitude and uses it to process thoughts deeply. According to Carl Jung's personality theory, introverted intuitive individuals are driven more by their inner world than by external approval. That's why a Sigma doesn't feel the need to constantly explain themselves or seek social permission for how they operate. But here's the twist. Sigmas aren't avoiding people out of fear. They're not running from relationships. They just refuse to be trapped in emotional codependency. They see life as a journey, and in that journey, each person should walk on their own 2 feet. If someone is always leaning on them for emotional support without offering personal stability, that throws off the balance. Sigmas are explorers, not escape artists. They crave depth and meaning, but only in connections that allow freedom. If a person can't stand strong on their own, a Sigma won't carry them. They'll walk alone instead, not out of cruelty, but out of principle. Their solitude is a sanctuary, not a punishment. Are you giving them room to roam or trying to cage a wild spirit? That's the real question. Number 4, mindless trends and popular opinion. What's hot today? A TikTok dance, a celebrity feud, a viral scandal? Sigma males couldn't care less, and here's why that matters. Sigmas don't follow the herd. They don't care what's trending on social media or what the latest viral meme is. While others are busy refreshing their feeds for the next big thing, Sigmas are building things that last. They're not interested in keeping up with appearances. They're focused on substance, not style. They don't change their wardrobe, their opinions, or their identities every time the wind blows a different direction online. Why are they like this? Because they understand a timeless truth. A TikTok challenge lasts a week. A news headline fades by tomorrow. But core values like honesty, discipline, and purpose never go out of style. Sigmas are anchored in those values. While the world jumps from one distraction to the next, Sigmas are grounded psychologically. This mindset is rooted in a belief that one's life is shaped by inner choices, not external trends. Studies show that people with a strong internal locus of control are more likely to resist peer pressure, perform better in stressful environments, and have greater self-motivation. That's textbook Sigma behavior. Entertaining? Maybe not in the flashy viral sense, but admirable? Absolutely. Because while everyone else is chasing relevance, Sigmas are chasing reality. And in the long run, it's the real ones who leave the deepest mark. So while the world is busy being loud, Sigmas are quietly doing what matters. They're not avoiding trends to be rebels. They're avoiding distractions to stay true. And that kind of authenticity never goes out of style. Number 5, forced socialization in crowded environments, packed clubs, office parties, networking events with name tags and awkward smiles. Sigmas would rather walk barefoot through Legos. It's not that they hate people, they simply prefer authenticity over superficial interaction. While others may thrive in the buzz of social gatherings, Sigmas often find such environments mentally exhausting. Why? Because forced energy drains their power, and Sigmas guard their energy like gold. Let's break it down. The human brain uses a surprising amount of energy for social interaction. According to neuroscientific research, maintaining eye contact, interpreting body language, and managing small talk all require cognitive effort. For Sigma males, who tend to be more introspective and autonomous, this can feel overwhelming, especially in environments where conformity and performative friendliness are the norm. Psychologists identify Sigmas as lone wolves, not antisocial, but selectively social. They crave meaningful dialogue, not the usual surface-level chatter. Give them a quiet cafe and a thought-provoking conversation, and they light up. Throw them into a loud room full of status jockeying and shallow networking, and they mentally check out. What makes this fascinating is that Sigmas aren't necessarily shy. In fact, many are highly confident and observant, but they value their time and emotional bandwidth. They're wired to protect their mental space from noise, drama, and unnecessary distractions. In a world that often equates popularity with success, Sigmas flip the script. They choose depth over drama, clarity over chaos, and solitude over social pressure. It's not that they're trying to be mysterious, it's just that peace is their priority. So the next time you see someone skip the office mixer to go hiking alone or stay home reading while others hit the bar, don't mistake it for rudeness. It might just be the mark of a Sigma. Someone who finds power in presence, not performance. Number 6. Manipulation and emotional games. Sigma males have a unique approach to relationships and interactions that sets them apart from others, especially when it comes to emotional manipulation. When it comes to emotional games, like twisting words, guilt-tripping, or fishing for validation, Sigmas immediately detect the underlying motives and quickly distance themselves. For a Sigma, manipulation is not just a nuisance, it's a red flag that signals a lack of authenticity and respect. Why is this so? It all boils down to one core value that defines the Sigma male mindset: peace. Their inner peace is non-negotiable. Unlike other personality types who may seek external validation or thrive on drama, Sigmas understand that their peace and sense of autonomy are far more valuable than engaging in unnecessary emotional turbulence. They are individuals who are comfortable in their own skin and do not need the validation of others to feel secure. Emotional manipulation, whether it's through guilt-tripping or trying to control someone's emotions, works like a slow poison. It subtly undermines trust and creates a toxic environment where individuals feel constantly on edge, questioning their worth and intentions. Sigmas, however, are keenly aware of how this manipulation can erode relationships. They value authenticity and honesty in others, and they're quick to spot when someone is trying to manipulate their emotions for personal gain. For Sigmas, life is about focusing on what truly matters: personal growth, meaningful connections, and maintaining peace. They don't engage in the drama that others might find entertaining or necessary to feel validated. If someone tries to pull them into a game of emotional manipulation, they simply walk away, preserving their energy and peace. This doesn't mean Sigmas lack empathy or are cold-hearted. On the contrary, they are deeply in tune with their emotions and the emotions of others, but they choose to invest in relationships that are grounded in respect and mutual understanding. Manipulative tactics, however, create an imbalance that Sigmas are not willing to tolerate. For them, authenticity and emotional clarity are the currencies that truly matter. In the end, Sigmas understand that peace is not just a state of mind, but a way of life. By avoiding toxic interactions, they protect their well-being and ensure that their relationships are built on a foundation of trust, not manipulation. Number 7. Shallow ambitions and status climbing. The world often seems obsessed with external markers of success. Corner offices, designer clothes, and the pursuit of social media fame with 100K followers. For many, these are the ultimate goals, the symbols of achievement. However, to a Sigma male, none of these things hold any real value. In fact, the flashy exterior of success can often be seen as a distraction from the deeper, more meaningful aspects of life. Sigma males operate on a different level. While society tends to focus on appearances, they focus on impact. They're not chasing the next trend or seeking validation from others. Instead, they are driven by a desire to create something meaningful and lasting, something that reflects their true values. A Sigma doesn't need the corner office or the social media fame to feel successful. They find fulfillment in knowing their work or actions have made a difference, even if that difference isn't immediately visible to the public eye. One reason why Sigmas reject the race for validation is because they understand a fundamental truth: external approval is fleeting. The rush of gaining likes or followers doesn't provide lasting satisfaction. It's a temporary high, a momentary validation that quickly fades. Sigmas are aware that this cycle can become a trap, one that ultimately leaves people empty. They don't need external validation because they already know who they are. Their sense of self-worth comes from within, not from the opinions of others. This inner confidence allows Sigma males to step away from the conventional paths of success. While others are fighting for attention and recognition, Sigmas are quietly building a legacy that reflects their true identity. They understand that real success isn't measured by the number of followers or the flashy accolades. It's measured by the quality of one's actions and the positive impact they have on the world and the people around them. In this sense, being a Sigma is not just about rejecting societal norms, it's about choosing to live authentically, unencumbered by the pressures of conforming to an image. They prioritize depth over surface-level appearances, and their focus is on long-term fulfillment, not temporary rewards. For Sigmas, success is personal, and it's defined by the meaningful contributions they make to the world, not by the external recognition they receive. Number 8, being told how to think, live, or feel. Sigmas are the masters of independence. They are thinkers, seekers, and rebels with a purpose. And they pride themselves on following their own path, not society's expectations. Unlike many who follow predetermined scripts about how to live, what to do, or how to feel, Sigmas reject any attempt to control their thoughts, actions, or beliefs. The constant pressure to conform to societal standards doesn't faze them. In fact, they thrive in it because it presents an opportunity to break away and chart their own course. Why does this matter? For a Sigma, freedom isn't just a luxury, it's a fundamental value. It's what allows them to remain authentic, pursue their own goals, and avoid the trap of living according to someone else's rules. While others may feel compelled to follow the crowd or embrace common societal beliefs, Sigmas see this as a form of mental slavery. They understand that true freedom comes not just from the physical world, but from the mental and emotional space to think independently and question everything. This need for freedom is deeply ingrained. From the moment a Sigma rejects conventional societal norms, they begin to embrace an open-minded approach to life. They do not blindly accept the "you should do this" or "everyone feels this way" mentality. Instead, they choose to question, challenge, and explore possibilities that others may never consider. In the end, their willingness to be themselves in a world full of expectations is what makes them stand out. So whether it's their career, relationships, or beliefs, Sigmas will always prioritize their freedom to make choices because to them, nothing is more sacred than the right to live on their own terms. Sigmas, here's the truth. The world will always try to shape you into what it wants, obedient, trendy, dependent, and distracted. But you weren't built for that mold. You were built to question, to walk alone, to lead quietly, and to live deeply. The things you hate, they're not flaws, they're signals. Proof that you're awake in a world that's asleep, so embrace it, protect your peace, guard your mind, walk your path, even if no one claps for it, because in that solitude is your strength. Sigmas, if this video spoke to you, then you already know this is your tribe. Hit that like button, subscribe, and become part of this growing community of independent thinkers, lone wolves, and silent leaders. Apply these Sigma qualities in your life. Be bold, be honest, be untamed, stay true, and stay Sigma.